Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason Laporte. He is Zach Partridge. As always, my co-host. What's up, sir?
How you doing?
I am doing great because we are back recording and we have a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
First guest of the year, MG from Rise Boxing. What's up, MG?
Hey, good to be here.
I'm super excited to have you on. I've been kind of stalking you on social media for the last week or so since we found out you were going to be coming on. So awesome. I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you.
So MG, tell us about your fight that you have coming up.
So I'm fighting on January 30th on the FKF Promotions card out in Tooele. It's my second pro fight. That's
what do you know about the girl you're fighting?
She's tall as fuck. I'm fighting at a higher weight class. I fought, I have 58 fights in the amateurs. I fought at 112 for most of those fights. My first pro fight was at 112, and I'm fighting at 118 for this one. She's 5'10" at 118. I'm a 5'3.5", 5'4", so got some advantage. Yeah, she's tall, but I like that. Lots of body to work with. So
there you go.
Southpaw, I'm super comfortable with southpaws. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to an opportunity to, I think when you see a fight where somebody has an obvious advantage and you take that away, that's a fun fight to watch. So that's what I'm looking to do.
I like that. How'd your first fight go?
Great. Stopped her in 58 seconds.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that before you and this was your first pro fight, right? Back February last year?
Yeah, February last year. Yep. Yeah, it was good. It's weird transitioning out of the amateurs. I was fighting a lot of the top girls ranked at the top in the nation, and fought, ranked number 9, 8 in the world. And so transitioning to the pros, you have some lower skilled fighters. So my first opponent wasn't, on par with a lot of the people I'd fought in the amateurs. So I'm excited to keep on. Yeah.
She didn't know what she was getting into.
Well, yeah, it's easy in boxing. I think the amateurs are better governed body. So when you transition into the pros in boxing, it's easier to move into the pros and easier to find less skilled fighters. So.
That's so backwards for me, coming from MMA and stuff. That is so backwards.
It's backwards, man. It's backwards. MMA has figured that out better than boxing, in my opinion.
Yeah, what do you think boxing could do in the local region to get bigger? Because I feel like Utah has a incredible MMA base going and a lot of momentum behind the MMA. And I know there's talented boxers here, and I know it's here, but I feel like there's just not a lot of, I don't know, what notoriety or publicity for it right now.
Yeah, I think that we need better promotion in general. I think that we have to market better. We have to create a fan base. I think unless you're in the fight world, you don't really know the boxing scene is as good as it is here. So I think that kind of just moving into that world of technology, and boxing really has been slow to do that. We're not pay-per-view for much of anything. We're not live streaming much of anything. They're not pushing fighters as well as you guys do in the MMA world.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's interesting to me is I'm an insurance agent, and one of the guys that I was at the insurance agent office with, he comes into the office one day and tells us this crazy story about how he meets this guy, and it was like nothing else was in Utah, and it was Flash. He met Flash, and Flash gave him tickets to come to a fight that weekend. And then he went to the fight, and it was a blast. And he's like, we had so much fun and all this stuff. I'd had 2 amateur fights in MMA. I didn't even know that there was boxing going on in Utah, like events. And this guy said, I've been trying to find events to go to again because I had so much fun. And I haven't been able to even find them because they're not shared a bunch on, this is the first one that I've seen shared a bunch on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right, but I feel like it's still mostly shared by fighters, by those of us on the card. So unless you're following somebody on the card, you're still not seeing anything about it.
Right. You see Steel Fist and Fierce and even Mountain Force, they do sponsored ads where it's you see their stuff kind of everywhere, even if you're not following fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
That's actually one thing Well, actually, yeah, all those guys do that really well. You see those paid ads on social media just cycling through every day. I see it.
Yeah, I think they do a great job. Yeah.
So does that put a little bit more pressure on the fighters to promote it, the boxers?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's individual, right? Like some fighters don't really care. Some of us do more of our own promotion than others.
100%.
So I think, I don't know, for myself, yeah, definitely.
So, and then the other side of it is you own a boxing gym, right?
I do, yeah. Yep.
And where's that at?
I'm up in Park City, Kimball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. So how many other boxers, fighters do you have underneath you there that train there?
I mean, we have active fighters. Usually we have, like last year we had 7 people out of the gym fight. We're a newer gym, so been open just over 2 years. Yeah. But we have a bunch of, we have a kids program and an adult program. So we got, I don't know, maybe 40 people, 50 people who are training to compete at some point. But yeah, we have a fitness-based program too. So that's the bulk of our business. Yeah. Just to keep the doors open so that we can train fighters,
Right. Yeah. When you have these fighters, and I mean, I think like you're taking the leap, right? Like you're coming on a podcast, like, you're doing these things to help promote your fight. And this is what me and Jason talk about it all the time. There's not enough amateur fighters, even in MMA, that take the opportunities to share as much as they could on their own social media, like whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is so much free advertising now but it's like, they just don't feel like doing it. I don't know. And it's like, that's where like promoters need the fighters and the fighters need the promoters. And it's like, you kind of got to, it's still a business venture together. Do you take a part in trying to help your fighters understand, like, promote your stuff? Like,
yes. Yeah. I think, it's a fine line. Like I have had a hard time myself promoting myself, because you don't want to, like, I want other people to brag for me, right? Like you don't want to be hyping yourself up, but you have to do it. Like,
this is not the game for
you
humility
can't
all the time.
Yeah, no, we got egos and you gotta spit it out there. But yeah,
nice.
What's that?
You can be nice. You don't have to be like Colby Covington or Conor McGregor or whatever.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt, right?
It don't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage them to put themselves out there, but they're all like up and coming amateurs, like they're newer fighters. I think, as a gym, we try and promote our fighters, and more so, I would say, I'm on the board of directors for the local boxing committee here in Utah. So I think I'm more focused on trying to help build amateur boxing to feed the pro boxing scene, both regionally and nationally. And I think kind of collaborating with other gyms and helping put out, like, what is the boxing community doing? I think that's a little bit more of my focus in general, is like, I'm really well connected in that boxing community. So looking at like what boxers in our state are doing big things and kind of working as a community. Like when I started, it was all about being the best in Utah. I don't, like to me, that's like a small goal. You should fucking have bigger goals than that. So I want to help get Utah on the map. I want to help people be regionally ranked, nationally ranked. I think you should have a global view, like win some world titles. So to me, it's like, how can we as a community, like, sure, like Utah, even MMA, like we've got some great fighters here. I trained down at the pit also and know those guys well, and, have been was back at the pit back in Utah County back in the day. And I think we have to build through the ranks in the state, but really, like as a community, we're going to create better fighters if we collaborate and have bigger goals. So I think that's more my perspective.
It's and like you said, there's steps, right? And it's what does the fighter want to do? So like, I mean, I have 5 amateur fights. Like I'm not going to have like a big time pro career. I get that. Like,
not that attitude, man.
No, I'm not. Like, I already know. Like, I'm not. It's just not in the cards for me. But I love it and I love the sport. But there are some guys too. It's like that. It's goals, right? And it's stepping stones. The one thing, like, where I give Steel Fist a lot of credit is they do an incredible job, like building amateurs, right?
Yeah, they
And
do.
now, and then they have a really good platform for some like early on pros too, right? And they've had some veterans in their cage. You know, they've had UFC veterans and Bellator veterans and stuff like that in their cage.
Yep.
And they, you know, so they do that. They do a really good thing. I think we see Fierce is trying to do a really good thing. I think it's a little bit harder, but putting on big pro cards here in the state of Utah.
It is, yeah.
One thing that I like, it's again, I haven't been in the like combat scene too much. Like I've only been a fan of MMA and stuff for like 4 or 5 years, and I'm like just getting into boxing the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't feel like that I don't feel like there's like these amateurs that are like being built here in Utah and then getting a good comfortable place here at home to start their pro careers here at home. It's very hard to, and then to give them that stage to be able to go global. Is that fair?
In the boxing world?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. And, but I don't think that that's unique to Utah. I don't think there are many places that are doing that well.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the other place. I'm worried about Utah.
You're right. Yeah, no, we suck at that. It's not
So,
happening, period.
Do you see other states doing it well?
No. I think
nobody's doing it well.
No, I think it's an issue in boxing, unless you have multiple national titles, go to Olympic qualifiers or have an Olympic medal, you're probably not signing with a major promotion company, period. So then you have to find, I was ranked number 2 in the nation for 3 years. I was close, but I didn't quite close that gap. I won 2 national titles. I was like 3-time silver national golden glove medalist, but I never had the Golden Glove national title. State, regional, yeah. But you have to have that in order to get picked up by, any of the big promotion companies, Golden Boy, whatever. So I think these smaller promotion companies are who we end up with, but they aren't invested in helping us. They are and they aren't. We make money for them if we stay here.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That's tough. How do you fix that?
I think I should start a promotion company.
There you go. Now you're talking.
That's like, I think that's something, I think that I have a lot of respect for what Flash has done for Utah boxing. Like, he was key in developing the athletic commission back in the day. Like, he has done a lot for Utah boxing. So this is not to take anything away from him, but I think that the younger generation who understands, marketing, and back to that conversation, I think it's going to take people who have come through it, see the problems, and know how to tap into the way the world works right now, taking over.
Boxing is just old school and hasn't developed.
Dude, it's so old school. We still think you should jump rope only to warm up. That's how
it does kind of have that old school feel to it. Boxing does. And MMA is kind of the up and coming, like you're starting to see, though, I think a lot of these top boxers are starting to promote themselves. You Ryan Garcia, your Gervonta Davis, like all those guys are starting to get a little buzz around their names. And which, I mean, for me, I've been a fan of boxing since I was little, and MMA, and there's nothing like a big boxing fight. Nothing like it's just the excitement around 2 big names. Like,
yeah. Well, and I think, like both of those, like look at Ryan Garcia. I think he used social media well. He also fell into Canelo's camp, and then Gervonta, he came up, like he paired up with Mayweather, and having that bigger name fighter, that's how you got to do it. And those 2 did it well. They were able to ride the wave of somebody who was already well known.
Go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to ask, you've trained down at the pit, and you said, so any interest ever in doing any MMA?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Then why not?
Just do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will, but I'll make sure that I'm ready. Like, I want to do what I do well, and
good.
That's the plan.
How do you think Clarissa Shields is going to do?
I think she'll do well. I think her striking is enough to do well against the right opponents. I think she's got to be smart about her ground game, of course, and work a lot of, like defending the takedown and all of that. But I think I think she's a strong enough striker that that's going to be a huge advantage.
So how long have you been boxing?
10 years.
What was it like the first time you got kicked in the leg?
It sucked. Yeah. Like I wouldn't.
For me, it's go ahead.
I would say the first time I got kicked in the leg, it was more like a wake up call about range than anything. Like that's the biggest thing is you're like, oh shit, like I got to adjust my game plan because that like
it hurts.
I'm in the wrong range right now. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Because that it's just like, and because just getting into fighting and stuff, there was a while where I was just like anxious about getting punched in the face. I've been doing it long enough now. Like I don't care. Like I can get punched in the face. Like whatever. And good like a good liver shot used to just like terrify me, but now it's just like whatever. It's just part like it'll hurt for a minute and then it goes away and it's fine. But like I've always started with with leg kicks, and I've always heard that it's almost like when boxers transition into MMA, they're almost relearning like some of those like I don't know if it's fear, but like some of that stuff. It's like they're going to be so hesitant to get kicked in the leg or to be taken down because they just know they're not comfortable there, right?
Yeah.
Yes and no?
I don't know. I mean, I spar with all those guys down at the pit regularly. Good. And I don't feel like I understand range and fighting and body movement well enough from my boxing and I know like, I don't know. I feel like I know enough to kind of be able to, I don't know. I don't feel like that's,
We had a boxer come to our gym. He was a really good boxer. He's a pretty talented kid, and he hit really hard, and he sparred really hard. He'd come spar, and then he was like, I think I want to do like fighting, and so he did like one of our MMA classes. In our MMA classes, we're sparring with the little like 6-ounce gloves, and leg kicks, and I mean. Like you said, it was like the first time, and he spars hard. And so it's like, you go as hard as the person goes with you. Right. And so, he kind of cracks one of the pro fighters with like a really stiff jab with little gloves that he got his leg kicked so hard. And then he was just like, you guys are crazy. He left halfway through the class, never came back.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I will say like, I honestly didn't know about like touch sparring or like the style of sparring in MMA, like we only sparred hard in boxing, that's, I think there's a ton of value in that. It's something I've added to my training and it's helped me a ton, but I'm fortunate none of those guys do kick me as hard as they can because I'd be fucking done,
Yeah.
Mitch Ramirez.
I can say that I feel okay about it, but I haven't ever, I haven't been in an MMA fight. I haven't been, power is my strength in general in the ring. Like I'm a heavy hitter. So, I often think about the fact, like if I were Clarissa Shields, if I was fighting at 165 or 152, would my opinion be different? But I'm fighting at 112, like those girls can crack too, but it's different. Like there's,
So what I just heard was you're predicting a first round knockout on January 30th, right?
Let's go. Yeah.
Put that in there.
Yeah.
So this is not the time to be humble. This is like, tell us you're going to flatline this girl.
Yep.
MG, who's some of your training partners? I know, but for the sake of everybody listening, who are some of the girls you've been training with? Some of the women you've been training with, I should say. I shouldn't say girls.
I've been training with Ash Hayes is on the card, and she and I spar together a little bit. Honestly, for my camps, I don't train a lot with women, mostly men. I'm going to go out of state to get some training with some top level females. But Kendra Adams is a girl here at my gym who I coach, and we spar a fair amount, but mostly sparring with guys, mostly training with guys. So Erin Garcia down in Utah County, boxing world. Danny, what's Danny's last name? I can't think of it right now. A couple guys out at Fulmer. So I go down to Fulmer's boxing gym a fair amount. I train with Marco Sanchez and He's one of my main partners. Yeah.
I saw your video.
And he's tall, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, why don't you call me? I'm 6 foot and I'm a southpaw.
What?
6 foot and a southpaw.
Let's go.
I think it's pretty awesome. Going back to what you guys were talking about earlier about just the boxing community, how you guys, it's a community. Like I'm noticing you going to different gyms and getting in sparring sessions with different fighters. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, and that is something that's a little different with MMA. I think we're seeing that those walls getting broke down a little bit, but like, I mean, I know there's some gyms that like, if I ask my coach if I can go there, like it's okay. But I also know that there's some gyms that it's like, okay, if you even go train at that gym, don't come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And to be completely honest, like I've had issues with my coaches back or in the first 5 years, I was not doing a lot of that, but I also wasn't getting the sparring I needed. And so I really kind of have pushed to make that happen because I knew that, I was going to national tournaments sparring like subpar people and not prepared the way I wanted to be prepared. And so it's really taken me as a female too. Back then people wanted you only sparring other girls who are around your weight. And that's just like, there's not enough of us to get the quality of work that I need or want, so I don't know. I think that's like helping the coaches realize that it's going to benefit you. You got to change the mentality a little bit.
Yeah.
And there are places that I won't go. Like if I know there's a potential fight matchup, I don't need to waste my time at that gym, but
yeah,
picking the right people for sure.
Looks like Zach has a invitation to go train at the pit with Marco. Shout out Marco. Thanks for watching.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're like, nah, that's all right. That's awesome. So how has with you having your gym up there in Park City, how has things been going with having to work around all the COVID stuff lately? How have you been able to make things work up there during this pandemic, if you want to call it that?
Honestly, it changes month to month. It's been like, we were closed, we were open with masks. We've been all over the place. We're not sparring sometimes and we're sparring. We just kind of are rolling with whatever the current situation is. So when there's a spike, I'm making people mask back up and, we'll do fewer partner drills. But I've really looked at this year like this. There's a lot of opportunity to close gaps this year. I think that, we want to spar all the time. We want to do this type of training that we were always doing. But I think that there's a lot of work you can do without sparring. There's a lot of stuff you can do. And if you really target your training to the gaps that you need to fix, you can always do it if you're intentional about it. So I'm just kind of looking at how can we look at individual fighters and look at what the needs they have and really target the adjustments we have to do that. But as a gym as a whole, the fitness side of things, we're just like rolling with it. We took down half our bags, so we're in like 10 by 10 squares and doing all of that. Masked in the lobby and all the standard stuff. Yeah. Good. So anybody listening, go check those guys out at Rise Boxing. Love it.
Do you have any sponsors or anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by Neuroperformance up here in Park City. They do all of my recovery-based stuff. That's Lululemon I'm an ambassador for them. They help me out quite a bit, though. They're a huge supporter for me. They've been instrumental in my year this year. Those are my two main sponsors, but anybody who wants to sponsor me should hit me up. Cool.
We should have got with you a little bit sooner. We could have helped you out with some apparel if you don't have your apparel rolling already.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
We're doing we'll be doing Ash's shirts for the fight on the 30th. Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you to purchase tickets to come watch you fight?
You can DM me through Instagram, Maryguenn Vellinga, or Facebook. Find me on Facebook as well.
Sweet.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, I think we will wrap this up then for today. MG, thank you very much for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing you fight on January 30th.
Sweet. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, MG. Appreciate it.